How did you get into marketing in the first place?
Many, many moons ago, I was working in the health club industry, and I was put in charge for some reason of the personal training department across all of these facilities. And my responsibility was ultimately to grow the sales of personal training. And I really knew nothing about marketing, advertising. Really, at the time, I thought advertising and marketing were the same thing, just two different words to describe the same activity. And one day I get a direct response postcard in the mail, an oversized, yellow hard stock postcard filled with copy from top to bottom, left to right, front and back. And it was offering a fitness marketing system for individual personal trainers. And so I figured, hey, this could be really valuable. Asked my boss if I could expense it. It was a few $100. He said, yeah. And I got this home study system. At the time, it was cassette tapes. It was like a hard diskette. It was big binders. It was this massive, massive thing that showed up. And that was my first exposure to the whole world of direct response and this idea that you could create a single message and then use that same message over and over and over to generate new buyers, new clients, and so on. And so I absolutely became enamored with that, and I began using it in the adapting it for the health club environment. And my department started to take off. And then I reached out to the creator of the program, and I said, "Who did you learn from?" And he said, Gary Halbert, Dan Kennedy. And then I began buying, everything that I could get my hands on. And then the rest is really history. I continued to use direct response in the health clubs for maybe about 2 years, grew my department to like the shining star in that health club company. And then I said, hey, I want to see if I could use this outside of this health club world. Let me see if I could teach massage therapists, which I kind of had an affinity with, to grow their practices using these same principles. And again, the rest is history. Did really well with that. And then, how it is, adapted and started training entrepreneurs and now it's, 20 some odd years later, man.
I know you have this E5 method. It's profound. It's been so helpful to so many very successful marketers. Can you kind of take us through the beginning of your entire approach to acquiring customers on the front end using sales funnels?
How the E5 method really came about was I was very fortunate to have one foot in the typical online marketing community, getting to see what, the best of the best guys like you were doing. But I also had at the same time one foot in the big publishing arena, working with Agora. I really just brought the best of what the online marketing world was doing that the Agoras weren't doing to them. And I brought what the Agoras were doing that the online marketing community wasn't doing to them. And they both thought I was a genius. I saw how to combine the best of the best from this world and the best of the best from this world into a single method. And that became the E5 method. I'm a big believer in education-based marketing. I'm a big believer in using it in differentiation upfront, specifically identifying the unique mechanism behind a product or service, which is nothing more really than the unique way, process, framework, approach, system, whatever, behind the product that is able to produce the result. And then we really just create campaigns that introduce the marketplace to this new and different way to get the result that they want. And we educate them on not only what makes this unique mechanism different, but what makes it superior to every other method out there. And only once we've led the prospect to really see and believe and understand what makes this unique mechanism superior to every other way to get the result that they want, do we then segue into the offer? Do we then segue into talking about the product? So ultimately, really, 75% of the message that we communicate to prospects when we create an E5-based campaign is really education, if you will, about the unique mechanism, leading the prospect to want the unique mechanism before we ever even introduce the product or the offer. So 75% is marketing, I like to say, 25% is selling. We're not selling until we ultimately get buy-in on the mechanism and ensure that the prospect wants the mechanism. I like to think that it's much more akin, this approach, to thinking and operating like a prosecutor. The prosecutor has one job when in front of the jury. The jury in this case is our prospect, is our marketplace. The prospect is there to say, to do, to present, to demonstrate whatever they need to demonstrate to lead the jury to see and believe that the defendant is guilty. And only after they've presented a rock solid, airtight, emotional, and logical argument that leads the jury to see that the defendant is guilty, do they then give that final call to action to go in the back in the deliberation room and find this defendant guilty. Very similar to what we're doing. We're introducing the prospects to this new and different way, and our whole job is to present an airtight, rock-solid argument, emotional and logical argument that leads prospects first to see that this is the superior solution, right? And then only when we've done that do we segue into the offer. That's how I create, I would say, the overwhelming majority of our front-end offers that we're exposing to paid media.
So if you enjoyed this clip and you'd like to benefit from more monetization secrets, go and register now for Monetization Daily. You can go to monetizationresearch.com to get it. It is a free newsletter that is absolutely awesome. It is delivered to your email inbox, and it contains lots of great monetization tips, tactics, and strategies that you will love. Again, head on over to monetizationresearch.com to get it now.